Welcome to the Voice of Reason Sports Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the show, leave a comment, and click that like button.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Voice of Reason Sports Podcast. This is the marvelous one with Philosophical and Don, back for another week of sports talks, recaps, and predictions. What's good with you fellas? Y'all ready for this Super Bowl?
Man, I'm excited for the Super Bowl. I think it's going to be two great teams. It's a lot of variables that we see. I'm interested in the injury report because that's going to let me know who's really up and how Las Vegas is really going to see it.
I feel you. Because I think right now, Patrick Mahomes still not 100% with that high ankle sprain. I'm a little concerned about that. That's why I'm going with the Eagles on this, man. What you think, Phil?
They're saying that Mahomes is good to go, on a high ankle sprain. I think that's a cover up. But I do think that it's going to be a good game. I do think the Eagles are probably going to win this too. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. And like you said, I mean, they 2 weeks ago when they played the Bengals,
Mhm.
that he was good to go. But come on, man, that dude was struggling out there on that foot. I mean,
Yeah,
he's a great
yeah,
player. He can make up for it, but he was struggling out there. And I mean, he was throwing it off the wrong foot. He was doing everything he could to get that win, but
yeah. You
I'm
can't do that
concerned
against the
about it.
Eagles defense. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm predicting the Eagles to win. Phil, you got the Eagles. Who you got, Don?
I'm gonna run with the Eagles too. I think that barring the injury report, if we had 3 weeks or they had in college football when they had like a whole month of preparation and things of that nature, I think that it's gonna be a great showing as far as offense versus defense. Philly has the best defense. I think that the Chiefs had the better offense when they're 100% due
Yeah,
to Patrick being able to
Yeah.
extend the play. I'm really interested to see how can he extend the play because and then you got to look at this because we got to give these trainers a lot of kudos and hats off being able to heal these guys up. But remember, the NFL has extended the halftime. So I'm going to see how long
mm,
it takes for them painkillers and
Mm,
things
yeah,
like that
yeah,
because
yeah.
the Ravens almost lost because of that halftime show. I
yeah. I
mean,
remember
and they
that.
say no, not the halftime show. The we call
The
it
power went out.
the huge timeout. That's a power out. So it was two halftime shows within the game.
Yeah, it allowed the 49ers to get back into that game. I remember that, man. It was in the Superdome. Yeah, I got blamed for
Mm.
that too. But anyways. But yeah, no, I mean, but with that said, considering the two quarterbacks we got here, we got Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes, who I think are in the running for the MVP. Um,
Mm.
who do you think wins the MVP?
I'm gonna go first, and here's where I'm gonna go. I think it should go to Hurts
Mm,
because of if they paint the picture right. Because remember, nobody wanted this kid.
mm.
Nobody wanted him. They was going to throw him back. They was going to ostracize him. They did the same thing that Alabama did. And the kid didn't go nowhere. He didn't do nothing but go somewhere else and become a winner. He's a born winner at every
Yep,
level. From
yep.
college,
Mm.
from being ostracized at Alabama to going to the next team and winning. I think he has a better story if you tell the totality of the story because the MVP is not always about numbers and winning percentages. It's also about the story. And then all of a sudden you got to look at Patrick Mahomes. He's the golden child. So the
Hmm.
golden
Mm.
child, he actually, beat his arch nemesis and Burroughs and actually started to say, hey, I'm the king. I'm the king of this side of town. So everybody recognized me. So I'm really interested in seeing how they paint the narrative. But I think that if I was looking at it, the overarching story in its totality, Hurts wins out.
I agree. I think the fact that the Eagles, had the best record in NFC, Hurts, had the story. This guy was they wanted to convert him to a running back, which I still think is ridiculous. He threw for 3,700 yards, rushed for 760. So you got to combine those yards and talk about this kid as the MVP. Although Patrick Mahomes threw for 5,200 yards, which is impressive, but I would
Mm.
go with Hurts. What about you, Phil?
I wouldn't be surprised if they did a move like a co MVP.
Mm,
where they gave it to both of them. But I really do think it depends on who wins the Super Bowl. I do think if the Eagles win, they'll give it to Hurts, and if the Chiefs win, I really think they might give it to Mahomes.
Well,
I think it's kind of
they're going to give out the
50-50 on
award
this.
before the Super Bowl. Like
Yeah,
when they
because
do
Oh,
it's a
the
it's
NFL
regular
award.
season.
okay.
It's regular
Oh,
season.
regular season.
There we
Well,
go again, man. See it's a regular season award. Like with your
yeah.
boy Brock Purdy, regular season
Yeah, okay,
award.
that's right. That's right. Well, I mean, it's tough, man. I mean, I do think they may give it to Jalen because of the dual
Yeah,
running and passing, but man, Mahomes, man,
I agree with you. I mean, this is deserving of an MVP for Patrick Mahomes. But
yeah,
yeah, I'm getting
doing
a little
it,
Patrick
yeah.
Mahomes fatigue. I would like to see Jalen Hurts win it. I want to see some new blood.
And doing it without
I,
his main wide receiver too. They traded away Tyreek Hill, doing it without his
Yeah,
main
it's
receiver.
impressive, right? Yeah,
but he
Yeah.
still kept his same offensive coordinator.
true.
So
Mm,
which is
yeah.
Andy Reid, and Andy Reid is a mastermind.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's true too.
Okay, well, let's talk about some of the news that's out there. And I mean, let's kind of focus on my team. So, first things first. Let's talk about this Saints trade of Sean Payton to the Denver Broncos. So, I mean, we could talk about the Broncos too, but I mean, hey,
That's
for
a
my
great
Saints,
move.
you think it's a great move for the Saints or the Broncos?
I think it's a great move for the Broncos because if you look at some of the stuff that he's doing, he's trying to get back to some of the normalcy of a traditional football team. I
Yep,
think the Broncos had a great team, a great roster, but sometimes you can have all those elements and lack discipline.
yep.
I mean, in the corner office and everybody is a regular Joe. So bringing some normalcy back to that locker room is going to pay dividends like instantaneously. And I think the quicker Russ buys in to the normalcy is going to show in the win-loss column.
Yeah.
Did you hear what he said about I think one of the questions about his private doctors and stuff like that? Did you hear
Well,
about those comments?
he has his private.
No more personal training
He
Private,
has,
yeah,
for
no more
nobody.
personal trainers, yeah.
but no. He also has his own private quarterback coach. I know which
Mm-hmm.
video you're talking about, where Sean Payton is asked about the fact that Russell Wilson has his own private quarterback coach, and Sean Payton
Yeah.
was like, "Yeah, I've never heard of that. We're not doing that here." I love it, man. But see, this is why I think this is a bad trade for the Saints, and I don't think there was no way around it for the Saints other than to just bring Sean Payton back as the head coach. Not only did we trade him to the Broncos and we got back the 30th pick in the draft, not even a high draft pick, right? And then we had to send a third round pick, right? So we got the 30th overall pick, and then we got a second round pick from next year. And then we traded Sean Payton and sent the third round pick for him. So not only did we do all of that, we lost. We're losing parts of our coaching staff. He's purging our coaches away from the team.
And I
So
Hey,
remember,
hey,
and
hold on. I think that can be a plus, and here's why. They didn't do anything last year. I'll pause.
I know, Marvin, you were adamant that he wasn't going to Denver. You were very adamant of
well,
that.
yeah.
He wasn't going to Denver. But I think now it's like they're the coaching staff, I mean, they those weren't his players. They weren't their players. So
What do
maybe
you
they
mean the coaching staff that weren't his players?
I mean, so I guess it's one of those things where did Dennis Allen inherit that staff
Oh,
just to
right.
say,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I agree with you. Yeah,
It's not Sean Payton. So,
yeah, I
you know,
agree. I agree. To me, I thought it was unfair to Dennis Allen, even though I think he's a bad coach anyway, no matter how it all turns out. I think it was unfair to tell him, hey, you can be the head coach, but you got to keep all Sean Payton's staff, all of
yeah,
his players,
yeah,
and try to
yeah,
figure out how to win with these people.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
that's not his guys. So that kind of leads to the next discussion here. Because the next thing that's in the news that you guys probably hadn't heard about is the fact that Derek Carr has made a visit to the Saints. And the Saints are
Oh yeah.
considering. And one thing you got to keep in mind is that Dennis Allen was the head coach of Oakland when Derek Carr was drafted. So there's a
So
connection there.
I
Yeah.
think
Hey,
Dennis Carr is a top tier quarterback. Let's put that on wax first. Let's put that on wax first.
Derek Carr.
Derek Carr,
Derek Carr is a top
top
premier
tier.
quarterback.
Oh my
Yes.
God.
Hold on, and here's why. Marv, here's why. Marv, I got it. He did not win as much, but I think that he's going to win. Or he's going to win for your team. And here's why. Because y'all have weapons. Y'all have multiple weapons. And I think that if he utilizes those weapons correctly with the right offensive coordinator, I think y'all have a weak conference. Weak. Yeah, Tampa
Weak
Bay and them
division.
Division.
guys. It
Yeah.
is weak. The division is weak. Y'all could
I
actually
don't.
wind up taking over if managed correctly. Your
Mhm.
I don't
defense is
think
not
he's
that
a. I
bad.
don't think he's a top tier quarterback, but I do think he's kind of in that 12, 13, 14, 15 range. He's right around there, which is, like the
Top
division.
tier.
So
That's
let me.
not top tier.
He's not top tier, and here's
That's
why.
middle of the road. That's middle of the road.
Here's why. Here's why. And I get what you're saying. He has potential to be top tier, but I think his time has passed.
Yeah, I
He
agree. I agree.
he's been in the league 9 seasons. He's going into his 10th season. He hasn't figured it out yet. He ain't never going to figure it out. And
But
so
his defense, the Raiders have been a dysfunctional franchise.
I would disagree with that. I think Josh Jacobs is a great running back.
They just got Josh Jacobs.
Like 3 years ago, he's been in the league 3 years,
Yeah, but
and then they brought him Devontae Adams.
We're not talking players, we're talking about managerial because that locker
yeah, they
room,
had
the
bad
locker
coach.
room
The
and the head office is
John Gruden was
terrible.
a terrible coach for
Hey,
them.
hey, hey,
Terrible GM.
hey. Y'all,
Terrible
y'all talking
organization.
to a guy. Y'all talking to a guy that saw a hurricane blow away the Superdome.
But
Had
you
the
guys have won a
entire
Super Bowl and won
had the entire
playoffs.
team, had the entire city flooded, and Drew Brees came and uplifted everybody,
But you guys were
uplifted
winning.
players,
I
uplifted the
think it was
city,
more than
and
just
took
Drew Brees. I
took
think
them
it's
to the
that's the
NFC
Baton Rouge
Championship game.
committee. I think that
But you
your
guys
whole
were winning
environment
though.
it wasn't just one person.
Don,
I think he fed off the community. He couldn't do nothing but excel in an
Don,
environment like that.
Don, the Saints were on their way out. They were looking at moving to San Antonio. It was dysfunctional. And the fact
I
that he
remember that.
won,
I remember that. I
the
remember that.
fact that they won that year is what kept the Saints in New Orleans. Because if not, that team was moving to San Antonio.
It's not
But
only
what
winning,
but
it's the support of the community because
Yeah, the community.
you can win and not have support of the
but
community,
we're
That's true.
but
aka,
but
So you telling me that the Vegas community doesn't support the Raiders? You
the
telling me the
Oakland
Oakland
Raiders at
community
that they just
didn't have
got
the support?
they
Oakland,
weren't
yes.
good.
Las
They weren't
Vegas,
good.
no.
They weren't good though, Don. I mean
I think
Marvin.
I think
They weren't good.
look, here's the deal. Derek Carr is in his ninth season.
I agree.
He is past his prime. I think he is the same as Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton left Cincinnati after 9 seasons. We're basically getting the same player. We're
That's
going
not
from
true,
Andy
Marvin.
Dalton to Derek Carr. It's going to be the
That's not
same
true,
results.
Marvin.
I
That's
don't
not
think
true.
Andy Dalton can make all the throws that Carr. Carr can still make all the
I
throws.
I
don't think
mean,
so.
we argue a lot about
And
Jameis
then
Winston. We argue a lot
he's
about
terrible.
Jameis Winston. Yeah, but this is not a Jameis Winston type of quarterback.
I think he is. And then what
The,
makes it worse is his
I
contract.
disagree.
And what makes it worse is his contract.
Now
he
his
Right
was
now,
contract
dysfunction all
might
over the
right,
hurt you.
Raiders
his
His
contract
contract might
is
hurt you.
34 million next year, and then
for 2 years.
42. No, he's got 3 years left.
Okay.
34, 42, and 41 million. That is franchise level quarterback money. Quarterbacks that's going to the playoffs, second round conference finals and stuff like that. Not this dude that
So
can't
let
make
me
the
ask you
playoffs.
this, Marvin. Let
Hold on,
me
hold
let
on.
me ask you this,
Go
Marvin.
ahead.
So you're saying, okay, Derek Carr. We're comparing his 9 years in the NFL, right?
Yep,
And you just said the Saints when Drew Brees got there, right?
yep,
So Drew Brees when he got there, he had Sean Payton.
yep,
They were stability
yep.
when Sean Payton got there.
I
Stability
wouldn't say
when Drew Brees.
stability.
They were winning. They were because they used to be one of the worst teams ever, right?
No,
We can even say
no.
Saints used to be really bad,
In
really
the
bad.
we're in the 70s, man. Why we keep talking about the 70s? I hate when people keep talking
but
about, well, y'all
but
wearing bags over your head. That was before I was born, man. That's my
but
dad's Saints.
so let's talk about Derek Carr, a dysfunctional organization.
So you comparing, you're telling me that the Oakland Raiders and the Las Vegas Raiders were more dysfunctional than a team that had to move from its city and had a
Yes.
stadium that was falling
Yes.
apart and they were
Yes.
considering moving to another city
Yes.
Those
is
are
less
catastrophic
dysfunctional,
situations. It's not
less
comparable.
dysfunctional
Yes.
than
Because
the
guess
Raiders
what?
situation.
Yours was a natural disaster.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Their
you can't
disaster
compare
was
those
a
two. You
disaster
can't. Yeah,
that they created.
management, organizational.
but
Those are
I
decisions they made on their
I
own.
hear you. You guys don't know the Saints as well as I do. There was Tom Benson, the owner,
Yes.
lived in San Antonio. He had been considering moving the team from San Antonio, and
Okay,
this was his
Mark,
opportunity to move the team because of the natural disaster.
I agree with you saying. Okay, let's run with that narrative. Give me an answer. So you know me. I'm not even going to disagree with what you're saying. Show me what is the right answer. If Carr is not the right answer, what is the
Yeah. Yeah.
operational
What
yes?
is the other options?
You bring Andy Dalton back. It's the same player.
No.
They're the same
No,
player.
Marvin.
Same player
No.
for half the cost. 10 million a year for Andy Dalton compared to 30 million a year for Derek Carr. And then you got to trade for him because he's
But
under
you guys
contract.
can win this year, Marvin.
Yeah, we can win
With a
this year.
better. With
Even
a,
Seven
you,
and 10, you're
so
not going to win.
so let me ask you this. Even Derek Carr comes to the team, he's probably the best quarterback in the division.
yeah.
If we re-sign Andy Dalton, he's probably the best quarterback in the division.
You're comparing Andy Dalton to Derek Carr?
Yes, same player.
Okay.
There lies your GM skills and the problem behind it.
So
Because right now, Carr is a
okay,
better
so
asset.
you tell me, you think you said Derek Carr is a much better player than Andy Dalton.
Facts.
Derek Carr, you have Derek Carr back there. You got Alvin Kamara healthy. You got Michael Thomas healthy. Olave is going to have a step up. You know,
Thank you.
you're missing a tight
You
end.
got
Your
a lot
offensive
of
line is good. Your
weapons,
defense
Marv.
So
is going to
we
be good.
just saw
Y'all will be
Derek.
the
We
best.
just saw Derek Carr with Devontae Adams, Kevin Waller. We saw him with the running Josh Jacobs, and he couldn't succeed with them.
No,
In
what
fact,
was
he
the
got
atmosphere
benched.
there? The
Do you know
atmosphere.
who's in their division? Do you understand who's in the division?
I understand who's in the division.
The Super Bowl attendee, the Kansas City Chiefs, the San Diego Chargers, who just made the playoffs,
Okay,
and the underachieving Broncos that I will probably never get back on that train again. So those are.
here's another
and
funny fact for you.
Okay.
We beat the Derek Carr Raiders 24-0 this season.
Compared to y'all division, Carolina,
with Andy
Carolina,
Dalton.
compared to the NFC South, Carolina stinks.
Yeah,
Atlanta stinks.
yeah.
And then you had a 46-year-old quarterback on the Tampa Bay Bucks that won 8 games.
That's quarterbacking
that
from a wheelchair.
Yeah, winning that division. So you're telling me Derek Carr with Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, Olave, good defense, good offensive line, just missing a good tight end. Plus Taysom Hill to switch it up. Can't win that division?
No.
Oh my God.
Come on, Marv.
Come on,
I disagree.
Marvin.
I disagree.
Come on, Marvin. You're telling me. Oh.
I'm telling you, Derek Carr.
I need you to back up a little
I'm
bit.
telling
And see the
I'm
whole
telling you,
field.
Derek Carr is the same as Andy Dalton, and Andy Dalton couldn't beat the Carolina Panthers, nor could Jameis Winston beat the Carolina Panthers. In fact, Derek Carr is the same as Jameis Winston. He's the same player. They're all underachievers. I would say Andy Dalton has had more success than the both of them two combined, and he did when he was at Cincinnati. He was a regular in the playoffs. Jameis never made the playoffs, and Derek Carr made it twice in 9 seasons.
Let me tell you why Derek Carr has to come to the Saints, because Dennis Allen's trying to fight for his job. That's
yes, you're absolutely right.
They can't roll with Andy Dalton next year, thinking that he's just going to save his job.
But
he might as well fire himself.
Yeah.
He should fire himself. But you do know we don't have a salary cap space for Derek Carr, and we got to do some really maneuvering with the salary cap to get the 34 million into the building. You do know that, right? We're over the salary cap.
But wait a minute, that's what you were saying at the beginning of the season. You wanted the Saints to do in the first place. That shed some of them salaries.
No, I didn't say that. You said that. I didn't say that. I told you before, just make Taysom Hill the starter because he's under a cheaper deal, and you don't have to worry about paying anybody a lot of money because you can't afford him. That's what I kept saying.
I think if Derek Carr goes to the Saints, you guys can win that division handedly.
But
Carolina's got a new coach. They don't know who their quarterback's going to be. Atlanta's in a dumpster fire. They're going to have Desmond Ridder again.
Yep.
And Kyle Pitts is talking about wanting to get traded, and then Tampa Bay is going to be terrible next year. So you're telling me they can't win that division?
I'm telling you, I just saw it this season. They couldn't beat. They struggled against the Falcons, and they got swept by the Panthers. The same bad team that you're talking about, with an interim head coach, beat us.
And Andy Dalton was their starting quarterback.
Yes, who I think is better than Derek Carr. Yes. It's crazy to me that y'all think Derek Carr is better than Andy Dalton.
He is.
And you know that.
I can't wait till people talking to know they're close in age. They're going to light you on fire for this.
I sure hope so.
They're going to light you on fire.
Because they can look at the statistics and they can see Andy Dalton is 3 years older than Derek Carr, and he has more success than Derek Carr. Andy Dalton is 35, Derek Carr is 32, and Andy Dalton has had more success than Derek Carr. It's a fact.
Okay, so there's not anybody else out there other than Andy Dalton for you.
I think Andy Dalton is the best option. He's the best option considering our salary cap situation and the prospects at quarterback. Now, if we're talking about Lamar Jackson, you move heaven and earth to get Lamar Jackson in.
Oh, well, he's not coming to the Saints.
Well, I know he's not coming to the Saints. So why settle for Derek Carr?
If that's the case, y'all might as well trade for Tua. You might as well trade for Tua.
It might as well.
That's the case.
Get a young quarterback. I told you before, I would rather just blow it all up. Let Dennis start over with his own team, draft your quarterback,
you don't
build
trust
your
Dennis
team.
Allen would blow that team up, and I know you don't.
I don't trust him with a good team. He's terrible. So
I'm telling you, I think there's pressure from the top. Something's going on with the pressure from the top. They got to get somebody in there.
Look, I'm not disagreeing with you on the fact that it's more than likely we're going to get Derek Carr, and it'll probably be in a situation where they work out a deal with the Raiders where the Raiders restructure his contract, and he get traded to some kind of way where he'll be affordable, or the Raiders cut him and then we sign him some kind of way. I think it's inevitable.
Okay, so they get let's think hypothetically here. They get Derek Carr. How many games you got him winning?
8.
8 games to bring y'all the division.
Yeah, 8 or 9 games. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow, Marvin. Oof, okay.
I just don't understand you. It's the exact same teams that were there last year.
Derek Carr go there. I think they'll win 11 games.
Okay.
They'll sweep the division.
Sweep the division,
and you telling me they can't win 4 to 5 games outside of the division? They won 7 games this year.
I just saw it. Last year.
Don, if Derek Carr goes to the Saints, how many games you got him winning?
I got him at least reversing it. I got him being at least 11. And 6.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And that's due to the weapons that you have already.
That's
exactly.
Crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the same predictions with Jameis Winston.
I did not make that.
I'm just telling you.
Hey, he is famous.
You didn't have to
Jameis Winston makes a lot of completions. He just does it to the other team.
I'm just telling you. That was the predictions too. I'll say this.
Derek Carr is more accurate.
Remember, Phil? Remember at the beginning of the season, Phil? I told you there's no way in hell this team wins 11 games.
Yeah.
They had them winning 12. It was 12-5. There's no way in hell this team is winning 7 games. I guaranteed it. And what happened? 1-7.
Derek Carr is more poised. He's a better locker room guy. He can will that team together, and he can will that team to. I think the 11's a lot. I'm saying maybe 10, 9 or 10.
What Derek Carr are we talking about? We talking about the same Derek Carr that the Raiders wouldn't allow in the building, that was on national TV saying, "Well, I wasn't that hot. That's why they let me go."
He doesn't get along with the coach. He doesn't get along with the coach.
That's the great locker room guy you're talking about.
That's not locker room guy. That's the organization.
That's the organization, Marvin. That's the organization.
Oh
Marvin.
man, y'all killing me with this love.
Look what he did last year. Look what he did last year with an interim coach.
Yeah, I know they should have kept that interim coach, but I'm not gonna win this argument with you. You loved Jameis Winston last year. Now you're off him. Now you're on Derek Carr. You loved him at the beginning of the season.
I did not love Winston.
The Saints beat Derek Carr 24-0, and he even got booted off his team. You loved him at the beginning of the season. Now you got booted off his team, and you want him to come to my damn team. So, and they more than likely will, and he's gonna stink it up, and we're gonna be at the bottom. At some point, we're gonna have to start over. Some point, we're gonna have to just burn this all. Alvin Kamara's got to go. Just blow it up. Start over. Just
They
Stop
don't
trying
have
to
the
do
right
this with
coach to do that.
it,
They don't trust the coach.
what he has players that don't fit him.
I
This
agree.
you making him use a team that was designed by Sean Payton.
Yeah.
Alvin Kamara is not a give the ball 30 times. He's a more lineup at receiver, catching passes out the backfield. That's not happening without
He's
Sean
a
Payton.
no, but believe it or not, he's a positionless player, and they need
Yes.
to treat him just like the 49ers treat their running backs. They
Yeah.
need to get him a little bit. That's why I said with the right offensive coordinator, I think the weapons that y'all have are perfectly fine in order to get 11-6 record.
Well,
Yeah.
Don, the offensive coordinator from last year, he's back.
Who is your offensive coordinator?
You still
His
got
name
time to
is
make a move.
his name is Pete Carmichael. They've
Oh,
already announced he's
okay.
coming back. So yeah, and guess what? He was Sean Payton's offensive coordinator. He just didn't call the plays. So he's back. Ain't nothing gonna change.
Well, you got to understand who your GM is. He's best friends with Sean Payton, so that's probably where a lot of this ego comes from.
But see, this is my point of blow it up. Let Dennis get a fresh start, put together a terrible team on his own terms, and lose on his own terms, and get fired on his own terms. Because right now he's playing with Sean Payton's players, and he's getting these excuses. Well, he didn't have an opportunity. Well, it's Sean Payton coaches and his players. No, let him start from this. Burn it all. Let him start from the beginning. Clear our salary cap. Get us a young quarterback. Draft Hendon Hooker. Bring him in. The 30-year-old quarterback from Tennessee, which is dumb. I don't understand why people want him. It's coming off a knee injury too. So look, it's just not a good situation, man. And the the point is, the Raiders have given Derek Carr permission to talk to the Saints. He has a no trade clause, and so he visited the Saints today. So we'll see what happens. Today is Wednesday, so we'll see what happens. More than likely, I think the Raiders are going to restructure his contract. The Saints are going to trade maybe a fifth or sixth round draft pick, and we're going to get Derek Carr, and he's going to be our quarterback, and we're going to win 8, 9 games next season. No way in hell we win 11. I think it's nuts. It's nuts to suggest.
Oh man, okay.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, let's talk some NBA, guys. So there's some big news that's happened in the NBA. We staying off of that topic. We'll talk about the Jordan, LeBron James GOAT thing next week. We're not going to talk about that this week, but we're all going to talk LeBron. Big news out of the NBA. The GOAT. Now I'm just playing. I'm playing. LeBron James passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on the NBA's all-time scoring list. Yes, he did it. And I know you guys are gonna hate. Doesn't count. Doesn't mean anything. But that's a big deal. It's a big deal. Dude broke. He is the all-time leading scorer. A player that is not a scorer. That's what makes it more impressive to me. He is not a scorer. He is not someone that looks for a shot. He didn't have the sky hook like Kareem. He didn't have the fadeaway like Jordan and Kobe. He's not a scorer, and he's the all-time leading scorer. I think it's impressive. What do you think, Phil? Not impressed?
I feel like Marvin knows how to stir the pot because he said we're not going to talk about it, but then he gives a whole 5-minute spiel on it. So, I will reserve my thoughts to next week. All I can say is congrats. It's a participation award for LeBron. You know what I mean? It's
It's just,
congrats.
he get a
Yeah.
ribbon for this? What are you
Yeah, you
talking
get a
about?
ribbon.
They literally stopped the
You
game.
got the game ball. Congrats, man. Congrats, LeBron. So this is my thing with LeBron, right?
Oh boy,
Um,
here we go.
I don't think it's fair that he's compared to Jordan. I think that's where a lot of this GOAT talk comes from. The fair comparison is Magic.
Yes, absolutely, I agree.
I just don't like the philanthropists. I don't like the politics. I don't like the everything's about him. I do agree there's arguments for Durant. I do think he's the greatest player of this era. Actually maybe third best, Durant and Steph. Sorry,
Durant.
third best. Oh yeah, Durant and Steph. I just don't like the whole, I couldn't make it in Cleveland, so let me go play with two Hall of Famers, and then it didn't work in Miami. Let me go play with another Hall of Famer, two more, and it didn't work. Yeah, I won my title here, so let me go to LA and make some Hollywood money. I don't like. I just. It's not about basketball anymore with LeBron. I just.
Hey, and that's fair. I mean,
Yeah,
that's how you feel. If you don't like the
yeah,
fact that he's moved around, I get it.
yeah. And so Jordan didn't move around. You know what I mean?
He did.
Larry Bird. Well, I mean the Wizards. Yeah, I mean it was that
Nobody
was
wants to count the Wizards. I went to those
you
games.
know.
He did that for 2 years.
Well, the last year, he was icing his knees. So, anyway, I will say this, congrats to him. Um, I'll have my thoughts next week on it. There'll probably be a rant next week on it. Definitely.
All right.
That's
No, it's
my
all
that's
good.
my
And and,
spiel.
and, and look, we're gonna have a fair debate on this, and we're gonna
Yeah.
give each other a time limit to make your point, and we're gonna put it out a poll to our listeners, and we're gonna let them decide. But we're gonna set a criteria
I
of
feel
what we're
like
talking about.
the real debate should be Jordan versus Kobe, but I guess we can discuss that.
Well, to me, they're the same player. I mean, Michael Jordan is the best because Kobe copied Jordan, but that's
Correct.
another
Yeah.
topic.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll let Don go. He's a huge Kobe fan. He loves Jordan, hates LeBron. So what do you think about the new all-time leading scorer?
We actually should bring a LeBron fan up here to be, equal to you, Marvin. I mean, I don't think it'll be fair for you to debate, why you love LeBron and we kind of
I'm
dislike him.
I'm actually not a LeBron fan. I actually like Steph more. I mean, to be
Okay.
honest with you, but I mean, game recognized game, and I'm just like I'll tell you this: growing up as a Saints fan, playing in the NFC West, playing against the 49ers every year. I
Mhm.
hated Joe Montana. I couldn't understand why people thought he was the greatest of all time. Now, I used to hate the way his helmet used to be on his head and it seemed tilted to the side. And he always seemed to have this silly ass smirk on his face when we played him. Anytime we were up by 6 points, 4 to 6 points, he got this silly smirk on his face. Come to find out, he was telling jokes in the huddle, and then I hated him. And when he
Mhm.
retired, I had much respect for him because he was a great. He was an all-time great. Much respect for him, although I hated to play against him. But I don't want to take Don's time away. Don, what do you think?
I think I'm not going to ignore his accomplishments. I think it was rather historic. I mean, Kareem is one of the greats that I consider, to be up in that top five. My all-time top five.
Yep,
I, I I
mine
don't
too.
put I don't put LeBron in the all-time top five, but that's another discussion for
Yes,
another
it
day.
is.
And,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I think that it was rather historic. I think the talk of the day is not only did he win that accomplishment, but how did he win it? I mean,
Mm.
they're still losing. I would have much
Mm-hmm.
rather him to win to get the accomplishment and win the game. I think that would have been a more of a statement because
Mm,
now it shows that not only am I'm completing these milestones, but I'm doing these milestones in fashion because
mm.
Mhm.
presentation is 99% of everything that you say or do. And I think that just winning that's his stone is just keep on, that. But I'm not gonna move the milestone. I'm just gonna say that
Yes, you
he
are. You
he
see
he.
me? I'm moving the goalpost.
No, I said it was
That's what I'm doing.
monumental. I
I'm
said
moving the
I
goalpost.
I'm not gonna say it's not monumental. It is. It's a
Okay,
monumental. I mean, for him
I
to play
respect that.
20 years and play at an all-time scoring high, and a lot of his points came in the paint just because I mean, and that contributed to a lot of his scoring percentage. I mean, even though he shot a higher percentage from threes, but he didn't shoot as many. He didn't shoot as many, but I'll say I'll reserve that argument for next week, and just to give everybody just a little tidbit on how I'm gonna do my homework. I'm gonna break it down into in an extraordinary fashion because I'm gonna look at the total package. I'm just not gonna look at total championships because if I did, then
Well, no, no, no.
Robert Ory winning seven would have been a great argument.
Yes,
But
Bill
I'm gonna
Russell
look at
winning 11.
I'm I know, but I'm gonna look at the era. I'm gonna look at accomplishments, the
Okay.
longevity. I'm gonna look at the winning.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna look at the statistics in this analytical format, which was already broken down, and then the common eye test. And I think all of
No.
those attributes put together will equal will
Well,
show us, at least in my argument and my time given, that's how I'm gonna break it down. How you choose to break it down, how
no, no, no.
you choose to break it down.
No. I like what you have, and I think we all should fall in line with that criteria because I think we all need to be measuring using the same tools. Okay, if that's what we're using, I don't want to hear about how many shoes he sold. I don't want that to be a part of the criteria. His impact on global stage because he was on a dream team. Yes, of course, Michael Jordan impact on the game.
Michael showed us how to make money.
Yes, Michael Jordan.
Isaiah Thomas words.
Yes, Isaiah Thomas said, even Will Chamberlain said, every player should pay a percentage of their salary to Michael Jordan because he changed the game. Yes, no question about it. He is the GOAT as far as that. Changing this game, becoming an icon. He became the biggest sports athlete in the world. No one compared to MJ. I agree. But the question of who's the greatest basketball player of all time, that is a different question. And I like your criteria, but also I want to add into that. I want to add into that teams, the teams that they played against during that time, and how did they fare against those great teams? Who were the great teams during MJ's era? Who were the great teams during LeBron's era? And who were the
Okay,
great teams during Kobe's era? Who did they play in the finals? That should be a part of it.
competition level, I
Yes.
agree. But also, if you're gonna say that, then you gotta look at football because the passing game
Yeah.
is
Scoring
heightened
is more
because
now.
what? Because it protects the quarterback.
Mm. Yeah.
So
I
Yeah.
agree.
what rule changes? So what rule changes happen between LeBron and the other
No
GOAT
handshaking. No
criteria?
handshaking.
I'm not gonna name it. I'm not gonna
No,
name it. I'm just
no,
gonna
no,
say
no. I
what were
think
the
that's
rule
fair.
changes?
The
What were the
rule
rule
change,
changes?
but also let's consider the other players around him. Because what happened since then? Now
Mhm.
other players are scoring. Back then, you had the Anthony Masons, the Cliff Livingstons, who didn't shoot. Their job was to get the rebound and get it back to Michael Jordan to shoot the ball.
It's all about the weight room. You're right.
so to me, that should factor into it too. Michael Jordan took all of the shots. The rest of those guys were out there to get the ball off the rim and give it back to him. Now everybody shoots the ball. So there's less shots taken by, say, LeBron James compared to Jordan back then. So all of those things will be factored into it. We'll talk
That's a
about
that's
it.
that's not a fact, but I'll prove you wrong on on my
Yes,
analytics.
we're going to write this down. We're going to give our listeners an opportunity to vote. And I know we got some listeners out there like Joey the GM that's waiting for this debate, and we're going to give him out. I'm going to give you a shout out, Joey, because I know you know the facts, and we've had these debates with Don, and we've proved them wrong. So I'm gonna give you an opportunity to listen to it and vote on
Never
this.
prove me wrong. I'm undefeated.
But we got other NBA news to get to, right? So let's start with Kyrie Irving's trade before we get into the latest trade that just happened
Woo!
maybe an
Preach.
hour ago. But let's start
Yeah.
with Kyrie. All right. So Kyrie Irving was traded to the Mavericks. Now I think this is a huge gamble by the Mavs. Like Kyrie's on the last year of his deal. He doesn't even want to be there. He wants to be a Laker.
Yeah.
So is he going to resign and you traded away everything? Now, when I really looked at the trade, what the Mavs traded, it had me like, wait a minute, they didn't. I mean, they gave up their first round pick in 2029. I mean, is that
Yeah.
really a big deal? I mean, so the big loss for the Mavs is whether or not they can re-sign Kyrie and whether or not Kyrie will be happy in Dallas and lead him and help Luca to win a championship. I think he gives them an opportunity to go to the Western Conference Finals. I don't think they make it to the finals. What do you think, Phil?
I truly feel like if Kyrie really wants to, go to the Lakers, I feel like Brooklyn got a rental. I mean, the Dallas got a rental, but it was also bad. I think it was a terrible trade for the Nets. They got pretty much nothing for that trade. And we were discussing beforehand. I'm like, if you knew Kyrie wanted to go to the Lakers, he wasn't gonna sign anywhere else. You don't want to trade him to the Lakers. Trade him to a team you can get the most value for. You know what I mean? And I just
you and I talked about this. I think Phoenix was the better option, right?
Yeah, Phoenix was the better option. I think the Clippers had, their talks in there, and of course the Lakers. I mean, like, shoot. I mean, Chris Paul. I mean, you could have probably, maybe gotten DeAndre Ayton out of this.
Hot trash.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, they got Finney Smith and freaking. I don't even know the other guy, and a bunch of second round picks and a first round pick unprotected. I mean, like, I don't think it was a good trade.
Well, I'll tell you this, and I don't know this for certain. Well, I think that we had this talk before. Chris Paul wears on his players. He wears them down, and they eventually hate him. When he was a Hornet in New Orleans, David West hated him. He was ready to get out of New Orleans, to get away. Because if you watch it, a game where Chris Paul is playing, he is chirping, all game, not only at the opposing team, but even at his teammates. Even when he was in Houston, you saw that him and James Harden had an argument on the bench. James Harden got tired of him. So I would think that Kevin Durant didn't want Chris Paul there. That's the only reason I can see them not making that trade for Chris Paul, because, like you said, that's the obvious pick. Chris Paul going to Brooklyn makes them a contender. And for some reason, they didn't want to make that trade. They wanted Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, and a second-round pick in 2027, and a first-round pick in 2029, and then another second-round pick in 2029. Really? That's what you got out of the deal, Brooklyn?
If you were Brooklyn, would you trade Durant?
Would I trade Durant? No. I would try to get him to stay at all costs, even though I don't
they
think.
got him for a couple more years.
Do they? I thought they were trying to extend him.
They already extended him. I think he has 4 more years left, 3 or 4 more years. They gave him that extension last year.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best player you're going to get. Even though I don't think he's the Durant of old, after the Achilles injury, he's always going to be, injury prone, missing games. He's going to be Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, I think they should have made that Harden and Kyrie work. I don't care how. I mean, that should have been the big 3 right there.
It should have been. Well, you still got a big 3, don't you? Have Ben Simmons?
Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Big shot Ben, is that what you call him?
Yeah. Don, what do you think, man?
That's a big trade, and with Kyrie, it's real question. There's a lot of question marks. The primary question mark is loyalty. He's shown none. He's shown zero loyalty. He left Kevin Durant. Let's ask yourself, if Kevin Durant never talked to Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant would have been in New York.
Yep, he'll be
the only reason he is in Brooklyn is because of Kyrie Irving.
Yep.
So right now, I think it's a loyalty issue.
Yep.
And who is Kyrie really loyal to? That's
Kyrie.
number one. Is he loyal to that? And with a team like that, with a person like that, it's hard to get buy-in from the locker room, because sometimes somewhere along the line, great superstars, somebody got to believe in you to say, I want to be a leader, rather than I want to just do me. Yeah. So how is that team going to take him, and how is his presence going to be in locker room received? And is it really LaDuca still locker room? And how does he say, Kyrie, listen here, you here in town, man, but it's still my locker room, but you welcome to share some of this responsibility. So that's going to be, and then I want to see what Mark Cuban pitches, because Mark Cuban is brilliant when it comes to marketing strategy and things of that nature. What is he really going to whisper in that man's ear to make him want to stay? Tax? The taxes on the dollar is a great reason, because guess what? Kyrie already got his championship, so now he's just want to get his money. He want to get his money. Mark Cuban already said, I'll build it. I will rip this team apart and build around you and Big L. But now you got to look at moving forward. I'm looking at their style of play. Does it really match together? I haven't seen him and Durant on the floor as much. I can't believe that. I can't believe this is just me. Look what Kyrie just turned down. He turned down 2 of the most prolific scorers out there. James Harden and Kevin Durant. You walked away from that.
And LeBron James.
No, no. Stop it.
What?
Stop it. I said scores. Stop it.
Well, Jason.
Stop it. Hold on.
all-time
Hold on.
leading scorer?
Hold on. This is my time. This is my time. That's right. That's right.
Tatum and Jason Tatum.
Hold on. Hold on. There you go.
With
Terrific
Boston.
scores. We
Yeah.
talking about scores.
Yeah.
I'm talking about people that stretch the floor. Kevin
Yeah.
Durant is a walking meal ticket from
Make other
anywhere
players
on the
better.
floor.
Make
Anywhere
other
on the
players better.
floor, Kevin Durant dominates. He's a
Yep.
He's a walking mismatch.
And makes other players better.
James Harden is a walking mismatch. You had two players that was a walking mismatch on any given night.
Yep.
And you walked away from that.
Walked away from Jason Tatum and that Boston team.
So I gotta ask. I'm looking at just
Wait
Brooklyn.
a minute. Wait,
I'm looking at Brooklyn.
whoa.
Hold on. You had your time. Let me finish. Let me finish.
How we gonna skip Cleveland? This time in Cleveland.
Hold on. No, listen.
He was
We're
hurt
talking
most of
about
that time
now.
in Cleveland.
No.
He was hurt
Hey,
most of that
listen.
time in Cleveland.
Hey. I gave y'all time. Hey, give me mine. Give me mine. Hey, Marvin, where the mute button at? Thank you. Okay. So I said style of play because if Kyrie Irving is the most dynamic player out there, is really, in my mind, he's among one of the most unguardable players out there.
Yeah.
Handle is godlike.
Yep.
And that's coming from Rod Strickland. His handles is godlike.
Yep.
In the NBA.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah. So he played with one of the greatest players, right? Durant?
And then the walking mismatch in Kevin Durant. When Kevin Durant steps on the floor, as soon as he steps in the building, he's a walking mismatch.
Yep.
He's 6'11 with it. Yep. He's 6'11 with Steph Curry range.
Nobody else can do that. Nobody.
And the mid game range comparable to Michael Jordan.
And play defense.
How many championships did he win without Steph?
Hold on. Listen. I'm just talking about what Kyrie walked away from.
I'm just asking a question.
Listen, before you ask your question, you got to understand what he walked away from. And now I got to ask myself, what does really nobody? I say all of this is get down to one thing, and I know it was rather long. I apologize. What the hell does Kyrie want?
Yeah, that's true.
I'll pause.
Yep.
Because I gave you 2 scores, and guess what? Wherever you go with LeBron, guess what? You're not gonna get 2 scores. Not like James Harden and Kevin Durant.
He left Jaylen Brown and Tatum though. That's 2
terrific scores.
Yep.
Dominating.
Yep. He did. He left Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kevin Durant,
James
Harden. Yeah, all of these guys.
Walk to where?
All of these guys that didn't win championships. All of these guys that didn't win. That Kevin Durant did win it with Golden State, but he's had his own team several times before. With Oklahoma City and now Brooklyn. Didn't win a championship.
He went to the finals.
He went to the finals. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Not with Oklahoma City.
Marvin, let me say
this. You're right. I'm sorry.
Hold on. I'm gonna say this, gentlemen. I'm just saying with Durant, Harden, and Irving on the floor at the same time, I have nobody beating them. And that's just me.
And then
but they couldn't even make it out of the first round of the playoffs.
Durant left.
They was never on the floor at the same time.
So why would you want to put that? The best ability is availability. And you're talking about guys that are at the end of their career.
Availability during the playoffs. It's just not availability during the regular season. I care less about the regular season.
But they can't even make it through the playoffs. They are at the end of their career. James Harden, Durant, they are at the end.
James Harden is not at the end, and James Harden is still unguardable. Stop it.
He is not unguardable.
And Kevin Durant is still unguardable.
No, he's not. Not when he's on the sideline with a jacket on.
Well, guess what? Then what are we gonna say about AD? I'll pause.
I'm just saying. My point I was trying to make, the biggest mistake Kyrie made was leaving Cleveland, the place where he won his one championship with the guy that's the all-time leading scorer. You can't deny these things. I think that was his biggest mistake.
I'll pause.
He carried LeBron to that title. He carried LeBron to that title.
Thank you.
LeBron to that title.
Thank you.
Matter of fact.
Wow.
Matter of fact.
No, Yeah, he
Matter
carried
of
the
fact,
all-time
he
lead
carried
scorer.
LeBron. He carried LeBron in that finals trip too, Marvin.
Did he?
You can say LeBron had that block of
Yes, he
Iguodala, but
did.
that was in Game 7. There were 6 other games before that where each of them, LeBron had some 40 pieces in there, but so did Kyrie.
So Phil.
Okay, go ahead. I'm just saying. I'm just speaking
I
facts.
just got one question because we're gonna save this debate.
Okay.
How many finals appearances does Kyrie have without LeBron? I'll pause.
Zero.
Like Don would say.
Zero.
I'll pause.
But wait a minute. If we want to go back to that, some goats are undefeated in the finals.
How many?
And LeBron is 4-10, right?
When Kyrie was the guy in Cleveland, how many times did he leave the Cavaliers to the playoffs? I'll pause.
Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. You want to say that? What's LeBron's record in Cleveland for finals appearances? You want to go there? What's LeBron's record for finals appearances in Cleveland?
It's 0-1.
Okay.
Well, maybe we're not making the same point. Kyrie never made it to the playoffs.
They had a bad team. They had a terrible team. He was the number 1 pick. They had a terrible team.
LeBron took a dude named Boobie Gibson. You want to win, you put Boobie in. That was his second lead scorer, Phil. Phil, you know what? We're gonna have this discussion next week. We're gonna have this discussion next week.
Please stop it. Thank you.
Let's just stop.
Yeah. Because I mean, come on, Marvin.
We're gonna just continue this endless loop where we're just not getting anywhere with this debate. Even though you're making failed points of Kyrie carried LeBron, but he could never carry himself.
Facts.
So it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. He couldn't even make the playoffs without LeBron.
He carried LeBron in their finals appearance, Marvin.
So moving on.
Okay.
Facts, Phil.
40 a game. He averaged 40 a game, just as much as LeBron did.
Lord.
40 a game.
Yeah.
Facts.
All right. Anyway, now Kyrie is the greatest player ever. So here's the biggest news.
He's a headache.
He is a headache. Here's the big news. Speaking of headaches, the Lakers just made the trade of Russell Westbrook to the Jazz.
Okay, so that's confirmed. Okay.
Yeah, it's confirmed.
Keep going.
Mike Conley is going to the Timberwolves, and the Lakers get D'Angelo Russell. And there's a bunch of other guys and draft picks that's all involved in here, but these are the key players that were traded in this recent trade. I think this is a good move for Westbrook. This puts him on a team where he is the guy, he is the alpha male, and he becomes a starter again. I think this helps the Jazz. The Jazz, I wouldn't say they're contenders, but this makes them more competitive having Russell Westbrook. I think that's the best part. I mean, D'Angelo Russell to the Lakers, I guess he adds some value to it. I just don't know how that's going to work with LeBron and him trying to share the ball. And Mike Conley, he's at the end of his career. I think,
he's trying to win the title.
Yeah, but he's not going to win it in Minnesota.
This looks like a good trade for Minnesota, actually.
You think it's a good trade for Minnesota because of the draft picks?
No. I think Mike Conley, a good veteran point guard, can really. I mean, veteran. You don't think a veteran point guard is very valuable? He's very valuable. So I think it's a better trade. You don't agree?
I don't think he's the same guy that he was in Memphis. He's no longer that guy.
Yeah, I agree. But he played well with Donovan Mitchell.
He did before 1 year, and then after that, he was bad. Donovan Mitchell had to carry the team pretty much by himself and run the point guard.
But remember, Mike Conley will be a veteran point guard with Rudy Gobert, what's his name? Anthony Edwards and Big Cat.
Yeah,
that's not a bad team. It's not a bad team.
I think they're underachievers.
They gave up a lot.
They loaded. They got everything. I think Big Cat and Rudy Gobert probably was a mistake getting both of them, but I just don't understand what they're doing in Minnesota. I'll be honest with you. I'm just confused.
They're trying to win, I guess. I mean,
try harder.
So you think the Lakers won this trade?
No, I think the Jazz won this trade, to be honest with you.
Okay. I think the Jazz are trying to tank, but because none of these players will be there next year. Russell Westbrook could be gone, expiring contract. I mean, it's just.
Yeah,
I mean,
Exactly. That's why
if you're,
you win.
I think that's
yeah,
why they win too.
yeah, but I'm speaking in terms of this year. I think Minnesota will start to win this year. Utah, I mean, long term, you can say long term Utah won, but as far as the short term right now, I think Minnesota won it today.
I would agree, Phil, because this does not help the Lakers' status.
Mm-mm.
I know
No,
they
they
made a
don't.
trade for Washington. The young kid coming out of Washington. I think he's
What's his name?
dynamic,
Hachimura.
Hachimura, but you're not using him correctly,
Mm.
which is the same thing that you did with Kuzma. You didn't use him correctly, and then he went to Washington and balled out. So now you have a same dynamic player with some attributes that you just don't know how to contribute and make it work within the roster, because I don't think Ham is the right
Coach?
coach in order to bring
You
that
don't think
together.
so?
No,
You
I
don't think
don't.
No,
so?
I don't think so either.
Really?
I don't know. I don't think he's that
No.
coach to
Maybe
bring
I
that
need to
winning
analyze.
formula together.
I haven't really caught up with
Well,
that. Really?
And,
you know
and,
that.
and and not only that, here's the other part is that how does he fit within that offense? And then I think the Lakers miss, and this is just me. Right now, when does the Lakers consider this season a wash, and when do they try to increase trade value for Davis so they can move him? Because, like you said, Marvin, the best ability is availability, and I think when you earn a name from Charles Barkley, street clothes, I think nicknames are names that are given to you by other people, not names that you made up yourself. Right now, you're walking around with a nickname street clothes. I don't think that he's vibing in that environment that LeBron has fostered. LeBron wants to have a carefree, happy environment. As you can see yesterday, let's go back to one of the biggest things was not just LeBron completing that milestone, but look how he was celebrated by his teammates. AD was not celebrating him. So AD was on
So
a different page.
I do agree
So
with
the
that. You know,
chemistry.
they actually a video and a picture went viral about how he wasn't very celebratory towards the pro. In my opinion, I think the Lakers aren't trading Anthony Davis because that shows that if they trade Anthony Davis, they're probably going to have to probably consider trading LeBron and blow this thing up. That's
What's
just a
wrong? What's wrong with that? And see, that's my point. Is what's wrong? Because guess what? LeBron, even though let's get this out the way, because you're talking about a Laker fan. I had a dog. I named him Magic. My son is named
hmm
Kobe. Let's stop
hmm
playing around with my love for the Lakers. But right now, I have to subside that because the simple fact is that LeBron is like with the Galacticus. He takes a roster and depletes the roster, so there's no future growth within the organization.
No.
So how much future growth is he going to deplete from the Lakers in order for them? I mean, because look at every team that you see right now. One of the things that scares me so much about Golden State, which is my favorite team, is that guess what? They don't have it's not enough balls on the court. They have to keep sending kids down to the D League in order to get them some good burn.
Yeah.
Whereas though they can get them ready. The Lakers are saying, damn, sending somebody down to the D League. I need somebody to come up from the D League and participate in this damn fight that we doing every day.
All right, let's go to wrap this thing up, yo. Hey, to our listeners out there, man, thanks again for joining us. We appreciate it. We do this thing every week. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.